All right, happy hump day. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Wednesday to everyone near and far. This is the Dating Diaries, and I am your host, Crystal XO. But you guys know I am one half of the Dating Diaries. The other half is, of course, a main man.
Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Hopefully you got humped on in a good way. But
Oh,
we are here. Thank you,
mhm.
Crystal, for being here. As you all know, Crystal is let me put this in perspective for people because we need to give Crystal her props. It
Aw,
is 2 o'clock in the morning where
it's
she's at Italy, 2 a.m. and she's still with us and she's come out here on time. So I want y'all to give her a round of applause. She's still working through and keeping the schedule. So
thanks.
shout out to her.
Well, thank you for that, friend. Thank you. Yes, it is. It is 2 a.m. And I was thinking it was like, but it's that song that girl has. It's 4 a.m. You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea
And
what you're
Melinda's probably somewhere with a dancer. I don't know. But anyway, it is 2 a.m. I am in Sardinia, Italy, coming to you with today's dating diary. But before we get started, I got to tell you guys, first of all, it is absolutely beautiful here, but it is so different. And I think, you forget, I've been, definitely Melanie Fiona. Yes, I thought it was 2 a.m., but it's 4 a.m. And my lover won't answer. Probably somewhere with a dancer. Yeah.
Oh
Most of
Lord.
that song because he probably ain't had to ever worry about that.
Oh
You know.
Lord.
But I'm just saying. But no, it's so different. Lifestyles are so different. So here, everything shuts down midday. People don't work themselves to death. So you go to a restaurant and you eat from like breakfast 8 to 10, and then you go back for like lunch. Everything closes from 2 to 7. From 2 to 7. You
I
can't
like
get gas. You can't get food. So we happen to be looking for food in that gap. And when I tell you all these beautiful little eateries closed, closed, no gas. If you don't have gas, it's too bad for you.
they're
Those
telling you to
people,
go home and be with your family. That's what they're telling
that's what you do. They're telling you to go home and be with your family. And the first thing we thought, as Americans is, oh my God, how does anybody make any money over here? But that's not the goal. The ultimate goal is not to make money. The ultimate goal is to have quality of life. And I don't know. That was a beautiful thing for me to see here on this second day. Second day. I can't get the comments on stage here. Um, but yeah, that was a beautiful thing to see. Inconvenient if you ain't ready for it. But yeah, you're right. Pretty Parker says only in the United States are we overworked and always busy. When I tell you
me.
them people went home and looked at us like we were stupid for asking when were they opening back up. And then too, there are not really a lot of overweight people here because you have to walk everywhere. And you can only go to the restaurant in those hours, and so you can't snack. Now I
Oh,
know
oh boy.
I stepped into that, but I'm
I,
just saying you cannot snack. There's no snacking. You're gonna get you a breakfast, and lunch was within a certain amount of hours, 12 to 2. After 2, there's not lunch, and then dinner is 7 to 10, and that's it.
you got to
Go home.
stack the snack. Save it.
I did. I did. I have nuts. I have fruit. And okay, last thing. Last thing, guys. The grocery store is different than our grocery store. So, you know how our grocery store they tell you that you're only supposed to eat on the outside. You're not supposed to go in the middle because that's where all the bad stuff is. You're supposed to get the produce, the fruit, all that good stuff, and stay on the outskirts. Their grocery store only has really the outskirts. Like the food is so fresh, so good. It's just so different. And they did have like potato chips and certain things like that, but not a lot. Not a lot. Most of it was fresh fruits. Y'all, my refrigerator is stocked with fruits and veggies. I mean, just, hey, I've got my snacks. Just, yes.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Now, it's probably super convenient now that you have your hair locked up the way you do. Now, imagine being out there and you had limited to no black hair care products.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to
Then,
happen. I don't know what I would do.
what up,
This
everybody?
probably
Dog, Linda V as
this is
well. Pretty
this
Parker.
is
What's up, y'all?
this is not the place for um if you don't have locks. And I tell you what, I wouldn't be able to get them a retie.
I
There would
bet
be
you would.
no retie, no retie happening here.
I
Mm-mm.
bet.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think that was interesting. Like, just the times and just, people don't. There are no Ubers. And you know what's crazy? We didn't even have Ubers a few years ago, but now we're like, what do we do without an Uber? They just walk.
Hey, get next time we come back on there, get a slice of pizza and tell me what's good with it.
I've already had one. I was planning to try to go back on my fast, but I'm not going to be able to do it. I was hoping I'd be able to come lose a few pounds, getting all this walking in, eating healthy, but the bread,
Ain't gonna
y'all
be
pray for me. Pray for me with the bread. I may come back with more for Gun Boss to love. I'm just saying.
tell us how
The
the pizza
bread,
is.
the bread is so good. The pizza, the focaccia. I'm in Sardinia, Italy, and it's just beautiful. It's so beautiful, y'all.
Polies. It should be good. Okay.
Yeah, it's I don't eat cheese, so but the bread, I don't know if my goal will be accomplished. I'm trying. I am walking a lot, but
I know.
it ain't gonna be enough for this bread. It ain't. It is not. But yeah, that's there. I am now I am used to living in Atlanta, so I'm used to seeing a lot of us, and I don't really see any of us here.
Okay.
It's just me. It's just me and Chili. It's all right. It's just us. Yeah. You used to love focaccia. What happened? Do you not love focaccia anymore? How did that happen? Because I yesterday I had the most amazing focaccia. I felt bad that I did not stop eating it because it was just so good. They said it's because of the grains. Everything is just a lot more pure. So even though it is carbs, it's still a lot healthier for you, you know? And
Got you.
then I wondered, because I have a cousin that is planning to move to Portugal because she said she just got tired of the American way of life and she wants to live a different way. And I've known several people that have done that. And I think, that takes a lot of courage, but I actually admire people like that you just decide how you want your life to be. I think we all have the right to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard more and more people talk about it. I think if I start doing more of it outside this country, we'll see. I might get, I don't know. I don't know. But I hear more and more people talk about it. Yes.
Linda says, "I wish I could leave this country." You can. We all can. We all have the ability to do whatever we want. I believe.
Yeah.
Now it may take you some time to get your plan together, but you do have the ability. We all have the ability to do it. If there's anything that you want to do, just figure out a way to do it, and you can. And I promise, if you're serious about it, the universe will start working towards bringing it to you. You know,
That's true.
yeah. I want to talk about a few things. I thought, oh, Linda said my friend moved back to Africa and never came back. I'm certain. I have a friend that moved to Africa as well. Hey, I think you can go wherever you want. You can do whatever you want. I want to talk to you. I wanted to ask you something. There's been some posts. Um, there's been some posts about just ciao. Yes, I've been trying to, I don't know any Italian besides ciao and grazie. Gracias. That's it. I got to learn some more. Um, but there's been some talk online about dating and women and just the conversation around asking a man, if he is um, into same sex interaction, if you will. And I saw a conversation with Nene Leakes and T.S. Madison, and
Oh,
I am. So T.S. Madison said, this age old conversation that we hear women have. If a man is intimate with a, a trans woman, does that make him gay? Does that make him pan? Does that make him, what does that make him? And so, hey, Michelle. So T.S. Madison said that makes him straight because he's attracted to a man. I don't want to argue that point because there's been some argument on that point, but I do want to ask this. I got an email today from BOK. Our friends over at BOK are having a new Pride campaign to kind of create solidarity amongst Black men. And I think part of that conversation is like, it's called Solidarity for the Homies. Solidarity for the Homies. It says this campaign is a heartfelt tribute to the unique bond between straight and queer Black men and a bold step towards reimagining Black brotherhood as a space where everyone belongs. And so I thought that was interesting because I know, as a woman, I have no issue or fear or trepidation with lesbian women. I assume that they're not attracted to me, but even if they are, I don't feel like they can make me do anything. I don't feel any issue. I have, people that I talk to that are same sex loving, I guess is the right word. And I wonder why is there a difference, or do you think there is a difference with men? Do you have friends or colleagues or associates that are same um, queer is what they're saying? I don't understand that word, but hey. But do you have friends that are male friends that are of a alternative lifestyle? And do you think do you feel like there's an issue? Do you feel like brotherhood includes, all men of whatever your sexual orientation may be?
the first part of that question, I do not that I'm aware of anyway. You
Hmm.
never know. Do like I always say, no one knows where the nose goes when the door's closed. But but not that I'm aware
One
of.
more time. No one knows where the nose goes when the door's closed. Okay. All right. That's true.
Right. Um. Now the other part, this is where it becomes tricky. Could we have a brotherhood? I believe so, but I think it's touchy because what they're doing, if you're looking for that, is in the right direction. But they're not worried about me and
Hmm.
people before me. They're waiting for us to like be off and gone, and there'll be a generation that doesn't know anything different, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, I think that like we keep asking why don't they or how come it's not. Well, they never ask why come it's not, and they never ask like the straight men or some straight men what is the issue, and nobody wants to tap into that. They just say, well, you shouldn't be that way, but they never
Right.
ask why are they that way or what
Well,
could
I'm
be,
asking. I'm
or
asking tonight, which is why we have a
or
great show.
well, I'm gonna give you options on what it could be. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And just as much grace and understanding as they want for themselves, I think they have to have the same compassion for the people that are that haven't dealt with it or don't know or have an issue with it. And what is the issue? And
Right.
be patient. We got to do it on both sides. It just can't be one side. So the first
Hold
thing,
on, hold on, hold on. Before you answer, I wanna repose the question because Haitian Empress said, "What exactly is the question?" She came in mid topic, and we want you to be on point, my darling. Um, so the question is, what is the issue? Because BLK has this new campaign called Solidarity for the Homies, and so the question is, why is there a disconnect? Between straight black men and what they're calling queer black men. I would say just say alternative lifestyle or members of the LBC. That word queer is just odd to me. Okay, go ahead, Mo.
um, okay, one thing that comes to mind is that just as much as, let's say you have a young a young lady, a young girl that grew up in her family and let's say may have been violated, family member, neighbor, whomever, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one asks, and then she grows up in this world feeling like whether it be men or certain type of men, or she hears the word uncle and she doesn't want to be around anyone's uncle, right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's say there's a guy and we don't speak on it, and maybe because men don't speak on it. Let's say there was a guy that had the same issue, uncle, family friend, or whatever. So he associates that with the people of the LBC community.
Mm-hmm.
He's not
Mm-hmm.
saying anything because he's shamed if he does, or he feels shame. So he
Yeah.
grows up not necessarily hating, but just be like, yo, I don't want, or could be, but he doesn't want anything to do with it. And
Mm-hmm.
we have compassion for the young lady, but we don't have any compassion of the men because no one asked them why. And if they do, he doesn't feel in the safe space to explain why. That's just
Mm-hmm.
one, right? The two is you might not experience that. It's almost like an alien. If you never
Mm-hmm.
grew up around that or saw that, and let's say you start to be in your 20s, you only saw it from television, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like the people in certain Asian countries who've never seen a black person. And when you see video footage of it, they're taking pictures, they're in awe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine it the other way around, where you never dealt with these people before, but their behavior is odd to you. You don't run up to it and hug it. You stand back and you try to figure this out, because if they look like me and don't carry themselves like me, that could be odd to me. It's not that I don't like them. It's just that that behavior is strange to me. I'm not saying it's bad. It's strange. So as much as grace as we try to, we ain't no trying. We give the other side now. Now it's plastered everywhere. There's no way
Mm-hmm.
around it. I think we
Mm-hmm.
have to give grace and understanding to the people of the some of the issues that I just explained, and take our time to be patient with them and try to be understanding as well. Now, I'm not excusing the hate of it. I'm not excusing the hate crimes of it. I'm not excusing that. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying for those people, I'm just saying about the people that choose to keep their distance, the people that choose not to associate. It's for a reason. And we can't
Mm-hmm.
just block out the reason. We got to give them a safe space to explain it.
Right.
That's
I agree. I do think that a lot of times straight men, straight black men specifically, don't have a safe space to express themselves. And yeah, and so that's why we try to create. Mo, you have to hold the mantle for the entire your people. But in this, so this topic came up because I was listening to a conversation, and a lot of men from the queer community were being really hateful towards women that were saying want to um, they did not want to date somebody that would be with a trans person because they don't see them as straight. And I actually agree with that. But that, I mean, they were just like going at this woman.
right.
And that's another thing. I wonder sometimes, like, okay, F Your Feelings says it's the demonization of people who question their existence instead of wanting to have respectful discourse. They label it as hate or phobic. I think that for me, when you see that it becomes loud, it becomes like it becomes over the top, like you become the enemy if you're saying that that's not your lifestyle. That's to me the issue. I have had conversations with trans women. I even had one on this show. And we had an honest conversation. We don't agree on everything, but that's okay. But I think it's a problem when people can't accept that somebody feels different than they do, right? Like I can accept that you feel like that, but I can respectfully disagree. But my problem is when you don't allow me to respectfully disagree. In my opinion, a man who is intimate with a trans woman is not the man for me. And I have a right to say that, you know? But there's this whole idea that if you think outside of what someone else thinks, that you should be canceled or attacked is dangerous. And I think it does make people less likely to speak out.
Well, to me, they turned into the very same thing that they didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
The you know, I mean, it's not necessarily new, but being put in our face and accepted. It's just that, like, you got to give people time. And I don't think, and to try to convert or not convert them sexually, but just that idea of thinking and acceptance, like, it's just some things are just not going to happen. They don't necessarily think that you're bad people. And like I said, I really think they're waiting for us to just fade off. And then world will wake up, and you have to read about people who disagree with that in a book.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, but just like everyone else, they got to accept the fact that no one is accepted by everybody. That's just life. You got to grow up. Like, you can't keep fighting something and expect for people to be understanding to you if you can't be understanding to the fact that everybody's not going to be understanding.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's it has to go both ways. It cannot only go one way. And I think in this new world of dating, I think they were saying this. The young lady that got attacked was saying that she will ask a man, you know, if he has been in a same sex situation. I don't know that that would work because I feel like if he's she called it straight presenting and the guys had a big problem with that. But I don't know if that would work because I feel like if you ask anyone who is trying to hide something, they're less likely to tell you. Right? So if, just I remember one of my first boyfriends, I said, "Do you just want to sleep with is are you just talking because you want to sleep with me?" And he was just like, "If I was, would I tell you?" And I was like, "Touche." So usually, even though people say ask and, ask questions, a lot of times people are not honest, be it for their status as far as their health, their STD status. They're not honest about if they're involved in relationships. And if somebody is, definitely not honest with themselves about where they see themselves, like how they view their life. If they think they're living a straight heterosexual life, they're not going to be honest with you about that. They're not.
I believe that the only way I can see them being somewhat honest, and maybe not about, medical status, but just about who they are. Maybe if, I don't know, you're in the city that has Pride Weekend, maybe that weekend they might be.
Atlanta has Pride Weekend just about every weekend, and that does not happen.
It's
I
like,
also want to say this, and I'm sure somebody may mix this and hate on me because of that, but it's okay because I just think this is true. I have a lot of friends that are gay, right?
I'm not
I'll,
put that out
he's
there.
not one of them. He's not one of them. But all my gay friends want a man that is straight. That's their goal. That's what they want. That's what they're attracted to. That's what they say all the time. They don't want another man that is gay. They want a man that is straight presenting. All of them.
If you
All
can't
of them.
me, then I this is why I have a problem accepting certain things, and because can somebody and because either if you do, then what are you? You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to be a woman.
They relate to me, and they want the type of man that I want.
Then what do they consider themselves then?
Me.
Then how come they not like? So they think they're a woman.
I think a lot of them feel as though they are, I'm trying to be so careful with this.
I know.
They want the same things. Literally. Watch go. You know what, Haitian, they have come. Do you know how many of my gay friends have said, and they damn, I mean, my uncle who is gay, who I love very much, he was at my house and he was like, wow, you clean up nice. And Gun Boss almost lost it. He almost lost it. It's like, relax. But I think he was upset, not because he doesn't like my uncle, because he's like, don't disrespect me. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, do not.
Referring to gun bars.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought he. Okay.
No, he was referring to him. He and we've been.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So he didn't. So it's like, okay, if you want there to be positive relationships, right? Which we do. I do think there has to be. I do think that I think black men need to be able to come together, and there should not be this disconnect, right? Because the rest of the world is already, seeing us a certain way. But if I say this is how I am and I want you to respect it, and you don't, and I know a lot of them push the envelope, push it, push it, push it. Some men are okay with it, other men are not. But if you know he's not, why would you do that?
This is the line stepping shit that I'm talking about.
Are you talking Michelle Smith? Are you talking about Jamal Bryant when he? Oh, no, no, no! You couldn't have been, because Jamal Bryant mentioned that Cam Newton had pretty legs. That was just a weird moment. I don't know if that's
I
what
was
you're
okay.
referring to. That was a weird moment. That was just a weird moment. I don't know what that was. Um, but yeah, I think that, to me, the way he said it to my husband, Adrian felt disrespected. But I don't think my uncle was. My uncle just likes to push. He's a line stepper. He's a line stepper. But some people don't respond well to that. You know.
Ooh, I can only. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: would you be offended if a woman asks you your sexual history in relation to same sex relationships?
Not now. When I first got here, maybe the first 8 years, because I didn't know. I thought this being living in the Northeast, what they would say about Atlanta is what they would say about DC.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I moved here, and it was shortly after I would hear the stigma here, and then when they was like, "Hey," and I was at first I was, but then you travel and then you hear other people say it, and it was like no one says it here now. Where I
Mm-hmm.
get it at is if I meet people from other places, I'm in the airport or where have you, and people find out, you talk and you live in Atlanta, and then they say, I heard about Atlanta. They don't say you, they just like, I heard, and I guess they check your temperature to see where you're at with it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Heard this a lot of, and at first I was like, yeah, but not me. You get after you hear it enough times, you calm down, you know how to respond. And my response in the last 10 years or so is Atlanta has a lot of black everything.
And that's true. That's true.
Entertainment, like entrepreneurs. So yeah, it's that. But understand this, a lot of times these things are over exaggerated. I don't see them in my daily life. I was out all day today, and to my knowledge, I didn't physically, or what I thought was one, I didn't see it. They make it seem like it's on every corner. It's not. Now, if you go to all the tourist places, which a lot of people do because of TikTok and whatever they see on the reality
Right.
show, you see a lot of it if you go to those places because they're very touristy. But
Right.
in the hood or in just in regular, it's not as bad as you think it is, unless you go to where they hang out. And you never know. Lenox Mall, um, what's that, perimeter. I saw a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, holy smoke. They was in crews. You know what I'm saying? But it's not my daily life that I run into that. But is it here? Yeah. But I went to DC, it was there too. You know,
Right.
they say
I think it's
whatever it
everywhere. I think
yeah,
it's everywhere. I think Atlanta gets a bad rap because it's so loud. Atlanta's a loud city.
but here's the thing, and I don't know if my mindset has changed off of this. Forgive me for the women that live here. I blame the women here for the men feeling so comfortable being here and moving around like that. And the reason why I say that is because when you say, because every other woman I meet got one or two friends like that. And then they cheer it on and support it. Let's say his name is James. They were encourage it and be like, Miss James. And he's comfortable. He's looking at you, he's saying your outfit's, oh girl, you calling him girl, and that's encouraging. Now I meet you, and now I don't want to run you away, so I kind of act like I don't got a problem with it, or I'm not uncomfortable with it, but I am. So we don't say nothing, not to scare so much of them, but I don't want to scare you away because that's your friend. But I would rather not be around that if I had a choice, or rather you not have friends like that, but that's your friend, so be it. But what I've also known, and even if I say something, they'll be like, you're phobic or this, that, and the other. I was like, well, phobia implies I'm in fear of. I'm not in fear of them. I don't choose to be around snakes or rats, but it doesn't mean I'm in, you see what I'm saying? I just don't want to be around it, and that's cool. But what I noticed that if once they fall out with said people, he's every name that I said he was. And I'm like, well, which one is it? You're cool until he starts telling your business, and now he's a bunch of this, that, and the other. And I thought that was your friend.
Yeah, I'm with you, Haitian Empress. I don't give a woman card either. I don't. my, no, I don't have a. It's not a friend named James, but I do have a lot of. But I don't. But I also don't. I don't. I'm not one of those girls that's gonna call him girl and do all that. That's not me. That's not me. I will. I'm. I'm cool with everybody, and we can have conversation. But I'm not gonna. I'm not that. You know what I mean? So I don't. I don't get into that. Um, but I think that for me, it's like one of the reasons that there is a disconnect, and that's the question to me. One of the reasons there is a disconnect is because a lot of times queer men are trying to push the envelope, and some of them, not all of them, I don't want to generalize, not all of them, but I know some of them are trying to test and push, and that makes the other side feel uncomfortable. But I think these type of conversations hopefully can, because it shouldn't be as polarized as it is, but also straight men should stop being so, you know I guess hateful, and then the queer men should stop pushing those buttons. Like, don't push the buttons.
But
um
if we got energy or information, or I don't want to say how to act, but passed down to us, right?
mhm.
Your father was a certain way, right? And he didn't play that. None of my family, I
Mhm.
have a cousin, I'm not going to say his name, but he's like that, but he won't come out. And he's the toughest guy in the middle of the pride, but we know the situation. Amongst my family, we'd be like, he might, well, we love him, no one. Now, that was the closest thing to me. And I just found that out a few years ago. So what I'm saying is, now I got a connection. Now I can look at them and be like, okay, here's a family member I love, and it's like that.
Mhm.
Now I got to connect. I got a pair. I can relate it to something. There's someone I love who is. Now I can look at you. Possibly we could start to have that communication. But if you have someone that's never experienced that and you trying to push them on them, that's not fair to them.
Well, they probably already have. They just didn't know it. Like you said, they probably did, because everybody's family and people have it. They
No,
just
no,
didn't know it.
the outside people, if I meet somebody else before my cousin and they just want me, accept me, and we can be I don't, like, I have someone I love now that I see, and now I kind of look at that situation a little bit different. But prior to that, I still might have been a little cold and stiff because I don't know that. He didn't grow up like that. I had other family members that had to tell me because you see him in the way. Even when I go up there now, he don't show me that side, but I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
he
I
don't
think
talk.
for me, I wanted my uncle when he told me, I wanted him to feel comfortable, right? Because we're very close, and I'm glad that he did tell me. I wanted him to feel comfortable. I want him to feel comfortable being himself around me. What I was speaking to earlier, I saw someone say that they don't, I think it was Michelle said, I don't think there's a test for a straight man. There's not a test, but I think when you, just like if you tell a man, and I'm sure all of us have done this, you tell a man you're not interested, and then he just keeps trying you. And you could be like, I'm never going to change my mind. But he keeps trying and trying and trying. I've seen that. I've seen that. I have a good friend that was working, in a work environment, and one of these guys, one of ah, uh, a queer man, um, kept making little comments, and he was trying not to lose his job, so he would, be leave him alone, be quiet. Well, the guy got his number and called him and was like leaving messages on his phone. And he, at that point, he confronted him, and there was almost an altercation. So the guy, and so the guy, of course, then ran to the boss, right? When he when there was a confrontation, ran to the boss and told him. He was like, "Look, I told him to leave me alone. I don't give him any inclination that I want to interact with him, and I don't understand why he's coming to me, and I told him not to do it. Leave me alone. I'm not on that type of time." So the guy, they told him that he had to talk to him because they worked together, but it wasn't supposed to be anything besides work. Sure enough, they went back to working normally. 8 months later, a year later, the guy made another inappropriate comment. And that time the guy got fired, which is great because that's what should have happened. But a lot of people would say that man, he's homophobic. No, he just doesn't want to be approached like that. So I've seen that happen a lot. It was sexual harassment. But that's because it had to go to that point, and they worked in an environment that was very corporate. So there were checks and balances. But in any case, I just think, okay, Linda says, Crystal, let me ask, do men who are attracted to trans women still attracted to natural born women because trans women say bi men are not the ones they're going for, right? I will tell you this, Linda, and I've shared this story before. I was interviewing a trans woman. This trans woman still had her banana. So there you go. That's important to the story. So when I was interviewing her, she came to do the interview with two men with her. And one of them was very, very attractive. And I was like, "Oh, you're very handsome." And he said, "Thank you." Well, a week later, he reached out to me in my DM. And first, I thought he was just being nice. Then he asked me out, and I was totally thrown because I was like, "You do know I'm a real girl, right?" Because I don't have like I don't I was so, and he was offended, and he said I was narrow minded because I wasn't interested in going out with someone that also dated trans. And I just was like, at first I was like, I'm not narrow minded, I'm not being mean, that's just not what I choose to do. And he was like, "Oh, well, you're narrow minded." I'm like, I felt like Pinocchio, like I'm a real girl. Don't.
It is. Y'all can't have it all. Stop it. Y'all can't have it all. You can't. We don't got it. You can't have it all.
Hey,
Relax.
they
Relax.
wanted
Put it in the back of your pants and do whatever else you was doing. You can't have it all. Nasty ass.
moving on. Moving on. I just wanted to ask that question because in support of BLK's campaign of the campaign is titled "Solidarity is for the Homies." I don't know if that's going to take off or not. I'm not sure. if it's going
sounds.
to take off.
And the fact that you even say homies, sounds even crazy. Get the
It says it's okay. It says 40%. Hold on. 40% of straight black men are comfortable with close platonic friendships with queer men. 40%, but 36 are uncomfortable. Let's talk.
hey, you took my profile off there. You took my
I
thing
took
off
it
there.
off. It's
All right,
off. It's off.
I
It's
won't.
off. It's off.
I
We're gonna take. We're gonna pivot. We're gonna pivot from BLK. And I don't know where those numbers came from. House of Hakeem. I don't know where those numbers came from, and I also assume it's well. I don't know. I don't know where the numbers came from. But there has to be some real unpacking, and I think there has to be a safe space for both sides. You know.
fair enough.
Yes, but anyway, um, let's move on to our dating topic of tonight. So you guys know I am in. If you don't know, if you joined late, I am in Sardinia, Italy. And I think this has to be one of the most romantic places I have ever been. And I'm here, by myself with Sugar Pie. Sugar Pie came with me. And can I just say, she was the most amazing travel companion. She was so good. She was so sweet. It was just the cutest thing. Everybody's in love with Sugar Pie. I do want to thank you guys. I forgot about this before I got started. I wanted to thank you for all the well wishes to us with my husband and Kane. We did have to put Kane down. Mo, thank you for reaching out to Adrian and checking on him. And I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post something on my YouTube because he did this beautiful tribute to him. He said that Kane really saved his life,
I'm about to say
and
that.
yeah, and I love the fact that he was able to express himself like that. I think a lot of people that have animals, it's not just an animal, it really is. There's a connection there there's a connection there of non-judgment and unconditional love. And yes, he was Sugar Pie's protector. There was a coyote in our yard one night, and Sugar Pie came to the door and ran in, and the coyote came, was in the front yard just standing there, and I think I was like, get away, and it just looked at me. And like 5 minutes later, Kane came, and he had fought the coyote to protect Sugar Pie. So yeah, but my point is, I'm in Italy. It's a different experience, and everything from, like I said, that is so funny that the guy that I was just talking about just called me, that had that situation. Um, the the lifestyle is different, and so what I want to do first, before talking about a dating disaster, dilemma, or deal breaker, is to share a positive dating story. I think we talk about stuff that's funny and we laugh, but I would love for us all to share um, a positive dating story. And if you have one, you put on the screen and to be seen, um, for people to see. But I think in the midst of all the negativity that people constantly have, one of the ladies today that's working on set, she said, well, I just hear Atlanta is so negative. Atlanta is the hardest place to date. And I said, that's because that's the reputation, because that's all people talk about. But there are good dating experiences. Just because you go on a date with someone that doesn't end up being your husband or wife does not mean that's a negative experience. So I'm going to kick it off to you first, Scorpio Mo, for a positive dating experience, something that sticks out to you as a good dating experience that you can share.
I would just say this. This is the general. I've had obviously this kind of experience several times. Um, it's just the experience of going out with a date with someone and really losing yourself in the conversation and not realizing the time. When
I
this,
like that.
huh?
I like that. I like that.
When it's one of those moments where I'm talking about 3-4 hours pass.
Hmm.
You lose yourself in conversation. It's just not you're just out in the world public, but wherever you're at, you be in a crowded place, but it feels like it's just you and them there. and it's
Hmm.
this conversation that you don't want to end. You know, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like it, even to the point. Let's say the place closes, you're like you move to the next place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it kind of repeats itself. I think those are the best dates to have where you really don't want it to end, and then to continue that is you can't wait to see them again.
Hmm.
And those are the best. Those are the greatest for me. The best starts and a lot of the longest lasting relationships I've had is this, and it kicks off like it's the first time, like, and it's
Yeah.
just that energy of it where you feel totally comfortable. Um, you laugh, you share perspectives on life. You can even disagree, but it's not anger. It's not okay. That's irrespective. It's respectful, but the energy is good, and you just really get lost in the person. They get lost in you, and I think those start off a lot of times. I've had a few, not a whole lot, but I've had a few. Some build to that a little bit,
Hmm.
but to me, those seem to be the best ones.
I like that. You didn't give us a specific date, but I'll let you live. I'm gonna let
Yeah.
you live because you gave us a lot of other flowery words, so I'm gonna let
Hey,
you live.
I you just never know. I could have had one 10 years ago. You just never know, but they've
That's
happened.
they that's the most important thing because I think a lot of people when they think of dating, and I was one, I felt like this too. You know, dating just was like a burden. I just was like, oh my gosh. And until I actually changed the way I thought about it, my dates tended to be better because I would go into them thinking, is this going to work or not? And I think that's the wrong way to go into a date. The date is not, because if it's going to work, kind of means, is this going to be forever? And not everybody is supposed to be forever. Not
Are you?
everybody is supposed to be forever.
That happens? Does that mean you're pushing something, or you're just going for a good time and let's see what happens? Is it the pressure of pushing something?
I think for me, the pressure was, is he going to be the one? Could this work with me and him? And when you take that away and just go to have a good time, it
That
makes
part.
it a lot more enjoyable because then you're not looking at it like, it's nothing riding on this. I used to look, and this is, I'm admitting my wrong. I used to look at dating like it was transactional, like, well, I don't want to waste my time because time is money. And then I had to stop thinking like that and think that, oh, I love that. We're gonna post that. I used to, when I was doing that, I would look at it as a failure or a success. And that's the wrong way to look. To me, that's the wrong way to look at it. The right way to look at it is I'm meeting someone new. Um, and you could this person could end up being someone that I'm interested in seeing again, or someone that's a friend, or learning something about myself. But most importantly for me, I just like I get to get dressed up and be girly. And the more I got in, that's why I tell women, like, before you go on a date, love on yourself. Like, put on the lipstick that you like, make sure that you got on something that makes you feel good. Because really then it's all about you and how you feel. And if you feel good, the person's going to receive that energy. Um, I think one of my favorite dates, and I'm not, you guys know my dates with Gun Boss, especially in the beginning were amazing. The horseback riding, and we had so much fun that day. But I remember going to Stone Mountain. I went, this guy I was seeing, he was um, really into, that's the bodybuilder that ended up being horrible later. But we had a good date. It was like the second date, and he wanted to go hiking up Stone Mountain. He hadn't been, and I had been, so we met and we went up. We walked up the mountain, and it was fun. And then at the top, he carved like our initials in a tree. And I'm a sucker for little things like that. Just and it could be game. Shut up, Mo. But it just get off, Mo.
You went for that. Anyway, go ahead, continue. I did that in eighth grade.
I know that's what makes it so great is that when a man is still able to be as sweet as he was in the eighth grade, then that's a good date. Because most of you guys get hardened and and are not able to just tap into that little room. Do you like me? Yes or no? Yeah, yeah, I am a girly girl, but you guys know that already. Don't hold it against me. But yeah, it was fun. We went to eat afterwards, but it wasn't even about that. It was just, you know, doing something together, getting to the top. And that was sweet that he carved the initials in. And that's another thing. I stopped worrying about if the person, because eventually if you trust yourself, your intuition is the God in you, and it will let you know what is right and what's wrong. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to think, oh, he's gonna get me, he's gonna trick me. No, he may
You'll,
try.
you'll be
Oh,
surprised how many go into it because of past trauma and hurt. Like, and I get it, but before you step out there in the day, you made a very good point. Like, it shouldn't be hard. This is not the beginning. None of this is supposed
mhm.
to be, But I just want to say that. Good. I'm sorry.
Tammy said, I got the idea of buying my date some cigars for the first date from a podcast I listened to. It's the same as a man giving a woman flowers. I
If he
like that.
smokes cigars, yes, it is.
If he smokes cigars, yeah. What would you say? I wonder this, like, what would you say if a woman um, brought you flowers? Hello?
I had
You
that.
said what?
I had that.
Okay. What did you
I,
think? What was your reaction?
I said thank you. I went home and gave it to my girlfriend. She
And
said
just when you think
she
that he's
sent me.
mature,
She sent
just
me.
when you think
No,
that he's matured,
no.
uh,
This was what 98,
it doesn't
90.
matter. No.
But I took the. I had it, and it came to my job, and everybody was looking, and I had a girlfriend, and I took the card off, and when I came home, I gave it to my son's mother. As a matter of fact,
Hey, you there? So you're the only one thinking that. I'm not really thinking that, girl. I know. I just be hoping and wishing and praying, hoping and wishing and praying. Did you feel guilty, Mo? Did you feel guilty that you were giving her that you were regifting her flowers?
I
No.
don't know. Back then, I probably well, I was in my 20s. Back then, I probably didn't.
Jesus help
I was
us.
like, why would you do this? I ain't seen you. And she went to a cosmetology school that was down the street on Edgewood Avenue to be exact. And it
For that
came in,
information.
and I took it in. Hey man, it's the circle of life. She give it to me. We all pass this around.
I love that. We're done with you. We're moving on. Love is Mimi. I love that. She says after 30 years of marriage, we recently attended a party, and most of the guests were beautiful younger women. My husband made me feel like I was the only woman in the room. You got a good man, Savannah. You
No,
got a
that's how.
good man.
And I know dudes get distracted. You can see this one. You're looking out, and things come. But focus, brother, man, because she's with you, and anybody spending their time with you. I think we should appreciate anyone's, even if you don't like. This is their time, and they're trying to do so. I value time. That's one of my especially quality time. That's one of
Yeah.
my love, and I respect people that give up their time. So
Yeah.
even if I'm not interested or if it goes left, I don't want to waste your time, and I want the time to be of value if I do like you. You know what I mean? I want it to be of value so we both walking away feeling full or feeling like the goal is to hopefully we see each other again. But when you hear about the people argument or disagreement, or you hear a point of view you don't like, and I'll just tell the brothers this, you don't have to get snappy, as the women say now, sassy. You don't necessarily have to, brother. You can end the day short, be respectful, and keep it pushing. It says a lot more to go back and forth with her. It really does. Just you see it going left, don't put a lot of energy to it. Take the L and keep it pushing. But to go back, if you're only going to make the matters worse, just don't. But enjoy one another. If it is a solid date and this woman is giving her time, be present. Put away the phone, put down the phone, put it in your pocket if you have to. You know, be present, be in the moment. She will appreciate that. Look her in the eye, keep your head
Mhm.
up, smile, and just, as much as you want her to be into what you're saying, pay attention to what she's saying too. Because what we're supposed to be doing is collecting data. I get
Yeah,
the restaurant, I get the activity, but the true point is in the very beginning is collecting data. Please
yeah.
do that. Don't get by the beautiful figure and all this stuff. Collect data, boy, young man.
Tammy says, Haitian Empress said, remember when they used to leave notes on your windshield? I remember my first boyfriend in high school did that. I thought that was just so sweet. Most women, I think, I've been talking a lot specifically on Monday nights about this Diddy trial, but I think there's a lot of takeaways from this.
Very
One of
much.
the biggest ones is a lot of takeaways. One of the biggest ones to me is for women, like, you know, just because a man spends money on you does not mean he values you. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And I think this case is showing that all these women um, had thousands of dollars spent on them consistently. And if you listen to the testimony, most of them did not feel valued and were not. I mean, physically did not feel, but even emotionally, did not feel valued. But they had this, these gifts and all this stuff that a lot of women are feeling like is important. And imagine if you're getting all of that, but you're being treated like that. I think that, you know, a Birkin bag can't make you, it can make you feel happy in the moment, but after that, it can't do anything for you. But the feeling of being disrespected and humiliated and shamed and uh, that sticks with you. I mean, look what these women are going through because they valued a man with money more than anything. And there are some men, I mean, some women in this situation that have numerous situations like that. You know what I mean? Like you've been through guy after guy after guy with money, and they've all spent the money on you, but they've never valued you. So I think this, if nothing else from this case, I hope that it affects people culturally to understand that that is not a barometer of a person's feelings about you. And just because someone thinks that you're attractive does not mean that they value you. My mom told me that when I was young, and I never understood what it meant. I was like, because when you're young, you just want a guy to think that you're so pretty. But a guy can think that you're pretty, but not respect or value you. And that's scary because then he wants to use you for his own, to deal with his own demons, and it's not about the person that you are at all. And you're right, AM, some women are okay with being treated bad in exchange for money. And I said this Monday, it's unfortunate that the public now has to deal with that. Like, really, that's your business. But now this is put in a public forum. But I think it's a teachable moment for young women who aspire to be with a powerful rich man. And there's nothing wrong with being a powerful rich man, but you have to gauge if that man truly values you. And these women, the things that were happening, that was not the case. And it's also interesting, not to go into that type of topic because that's not what we usually talk about here, but it's just interesting how people assume what was happening with different women, right? So I've heard, we all heard what happened with Cassie, and then we all heard what happened with 50 Cent's, child's mother. That's so horrible that's going to be that legacy that's left. His son's mother is now the sex worker. But also, people are like, well, he didn't do Carisha like that. How do you know?
thank you. Or Kim, how do we know?
Oh no, no, I think a lot of people know that with Kim, there was a lot of abuse that a lot of people know. But I've just heard so many people saying, well, he didn't do Carisha like that. And I'm like, Y'all just heard this girl go on the air and say she likes golden showers. You don't think because it has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with
You know
him.
why? You know why I think that they think that, and I hate to say it, they could be mad at me even one because those women weren't black. They hate to think that the black girl got treated like that too. Let's call it what it is. The fact that this woman's Filipino, the other one's whatever caste she's is, oh, he wouldn't do the black girl like that. Why wouldn't he?
Please. And J Lo, how we know J Lo didn't do that? How we know J Lo when? Because at the time that they were together, J Lo was still searching. She was still seeking that fame. She left him alone, but we don't know that. Linda says she said she liked the golden showers. Yeah, Cassie says she liked the freak offs.
They you know, it's a wild case, man. I hope justice get served, whatever that looks like. But for the women that have to go through that, it's sad. And the transaction, and I'm glad you said it. If a man says it, it comes off a little different because I don't think anyone deserves it, but I do think people agree to certain things, and then we accept certain things at first because we don't know how it's really going to make us feel. And there's trauma behind it a lot of times. So
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely. But I think if we can stop, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't find a man that can provide for you because I do think that's important. But I think that you know, looking at the man with the most money as the best option and is not. It's just it may not be a good way to run your life or definitely to teach. And I mean, my thing is I have one daughter. Well, I have five bonus daughters, but so six daughters total. But my advice would be to them, and my nieces and but I don't want anyone young woman. I don't want any young women to feel like that's okay. Like we need to be teaching older women need to be teaching young women what is a valued man. And if we're not, I just feel like a big part of our culture is not we're defining high value with high money, and this is a prime example of how that can come back to bite you in the ass.
it's true, but the problem with that is some of the young women feel like the older women are just hating because they're not in that position. And
Yeah, because it'd
unfortunately,
be only one or two. But if it was a lot of older women together saying, "Hey, baby girl, let me," and saying it with love, you don't make fun of them, you don't shame them. You gotta basically talk to them and say you deserve better, and you gotta make sure that he don't just spend money on you, but he makes you feel like a queen. And making you feel like a queen means he doesn't want other people touching. It's just a lot to that.
it's a respect thing. Just like you hear the men talk about respect, then love. It's not love, then respect. So
Hmm.
I think I think it would be helpful to the young ladies to look at respect before the money. Like that's first
Yeah, respect should be first, right?
before anything. That's I don't want to.
Mhm. And then I think it's like, you gotta think there's no such thing as getting something for nothing. There's no such thing. So you want to just show up and be pretty and that's it. You're gonna pay for that, right? You're gonna show up and just be pretty and get $10,000 a month and he just pays all my bills. And it's like it's a lot of it's a in one of these groups online, this girl wrote in, this young woman, and she said, "How do I get the money without sleeping with the guys?" Like, you're
See,
not gonna be able to do it, my love. It's not gonna happen. It's not.
the
There's
fact you thinking like that is come on.
she said, "How do I get to the money without sleeping with them? I don't want to sleep with them.
You know how
I
you
just
get
want
to it? You work for it yourself.
to work for it yourself." Yeah.
You get it yourself. How about that? Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. But I hope that this is a learning example, a teachable moment for a lot of young women, because there are a lot of women that wish they were in those positions. A lot of women wish they were in Cassie's shoes, wish they were in Carisha's shoes, wish they were in
until you got to
Daphne's
sleep with
shoes.
Punisher and this other dude and this other homie all in the three. Until then, yeah, all right.
That's wild. That is wild. Well, guys, it is 3 a.m. and
Go to bed, man. Get
it
some
is
rest.
3:06 in Italia. Now, I will tell the women on the live, if you are open to dating outside of your race,
Lord.
you should consider. I think that people should do what's best for them.
They
If
ain't bringing you.
you say
They ain't
what,
not bringing you home. You can say all that you want.
you don't know that. You
Y'all
don't
don't
know.
even when that lady and she came home and her pops did what she did and her brother did. You can do all that you
Hey,
want.
that's not everybody. That is one
It's
situation that was crazy.
worse over there because that's where they from. All right, keep you do that if you want to.
But you know what? How dare you say that to these women when your brothers have been dating outside of their race
No,
forever?
I'm just expecting it don't be no further than a nice time and maybe a couple months, whatever.
I
They
have a I have a high school friend that married an Italian man, and he treats her like a queen.
it's the exception. It's not
Oh,
the.
now it's an exception. I'm
I
just
get
telling her that I want y'all to find love, however it comes for you.
Black
However,
find black.
however it comes for you. AM says she's planning her trip to Italy. Plan it, girl. Plan it, girl. But Friday I'll be back. We will be back with the Never Ever Mets. Now, the crazy thing is, the guy that I told you guys was one of the producers on the Never Ever Mets is here. So I'm going to try to get some additional juice before Friday from him.
You
I'm going
do
to
that.
try. Yeah, this is my source here. I did tell him that we're sick of Kiki and Brandon. We are sick of. I'm really just sick of everybody at this
What is
point. Besides,
and
huh?
the reunion, man.
I know. I'm just like we. I really want to skip over Friday and just go straight to the reunion, like because this is ridiculous. But we'll be back Friday. We're gonna slow walk it. We'll slow walk it. We'll slow walk it. Make sure that you guys like this and let us know if you're watching this on the replay. Let us know what a positive, like your best date experience was.
Please.
Best date experience. We heard some good ones in the chat earlier, and I shared one. Share your best dating experience with us. I think we have to balance out. We got to balance out the negativity.
We do. We do.
Yeah, we got, and I mean, we liked the dating. I just think the dating disasters are funny, right? So, hearing Mo go out with a girl that, has loose bowels, it was funny. But I think for a Freaknik loose bowel woman, but I think we also still have to make sure that we're putting positivity out there so that we're balancing out our own algorithm, because your mind is an algorithm, right? So whatever you put into your mind is what you think is happening. So you're just like Instagram creates an algorithm and you see everything that you like all the time. Your mind does that. That's the biggest algorithm, and so whatever you put in is what you're going to see. I am in Sardinia, which is an island here in Italy, and when I tell you guys, it is just breathtakingly beautiful. The architecture, the building structures, the water, the Mediterranean Sea. It's
Mm,
just gorgeous. It's just in the food. I am trying not to come back without any waistline at all. I'm really trying. I want to keep my waist, okay? I want to keep my waistline, but I don't know if I eat some more of that focaccia. I may not be. I may come back without a waistline. Joda says, I don't mind dating outside my race. My country has people of all races. The two major races are people of Indian and African descent. I think I think people should do what makes them feel a certain way. I told you all about my friend who, because sometimes we have like these biases within our own culture, right? She said, I don't want to date someone who's a blue collar worker. She ended up falling in love with a guy who does HVAC, right? At one point in time, I didn't want to date military guys, and I didn't like light skinned guys. Look
look
at
what
how you know. But he wasn't like the other military guys I went out with. And, I'm very attracted to him. So I think, sometimes getting out of your own way is the way to find, love. Linda says they don't put much sugar and preservatives in the food. I know, but still, I'm telling you, the bread just seems like it's going to go to, especially a short, thick person. It just is going to show up immediately, and what it's going to do is going to balloon out. Because at least, I'm a thick person, but I have a waist. But if the waist disappears, I'm going to be a tomato. But at least I'll be a happy tomato that enjoyed a lot of focaccia. So I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. That's why I don't understand the comments on people talking, because we make fun of ourselves. Like, life is too short, and to be all just,
Take yourself
yeah.
too.
Oh, but you know what? Before we go, I'm sorry I didn't do this earlier. We gotta have a moment of silence.
Right.
Gotta have a moment of silence for Ananda
Uh,
Lewis.
rest.
Ananda Lewis, who passed away. Um, and man, I that news took me by surprise. I had interviewed her a few years ago. She was working on a project, and she's good friends with a couple of my friends. But I knew she was struggling with breast cancer. But to hear that at 52 years old, she passed away, I just wanted to send some positive vibes towards her. She was a huge impact for a lot of us. She was on 106 in Park. She was on BT. She went on and did a lot of other projects where she was able to, do journalistic work, and just a
Mm.
really nice, beautiful and nice person. A lot of times you see people that are beautiful and they're not also nice. But she was a beautiful, really nice, genuine person. And I just I hate that. She also has a son who's 11 years old. We want to send prayers to him. That's just
Absolutely.
heartbreaking. But you guys get your breast exams, and love on the people that love you. And like I said, life is too short to do anything that doesn't feel right. We don't know. None of us know how much time we have. None of us do.
Woo.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yes, we are losing so many. I know, just in my personal circle, I have a friend that I met years ago when I started in PR here. Um, and I think you probably know her more. You've seen her. She passed away. She didn't want people to know she had cancer. She passed away yesterday. And then Dre's the Beatnik, very big hip hop inspiration here in Atlanta, just passed away as well. Just, and I don't, I was talking to a friend earlier, and she was like, is it that we're getting older that we keep losing so many people, or is it just that the time, that people are, it's just the time. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it is, hey, Curvy Queen, it's heartbreaking. And the only thing I can say is just like, you don't know how much time you have. So live life to the fullest, right? Live your life to the fullest. So if you want to move. If you want to find love, find it. If you want to get a different job and change your lifestyle, do it. But you know what? Tammy says we are ignoring our health. And I think that's true to an extent, right? But I also think there are some people, I know with Ananda, she was she was a very healthy eater. Like, sometimes sometimes it makes us feel good if things make sense, right? If we can look at someone and say, okay, well, that person wasn't taking care of themselves, so that's why that happened. But sometimes it just is, it's just God's plan for them, or just, you just don't know why. And I think we have to take care of our health, but we also have to know sometimes it just is, that's just that person's time.
It, I think at the end, it is that person's time, a period. But I do know that um, I don't know. It might be too early for me to even talk about it, but there was a decision made, and she chose to go
Yeah,
the route.
I know.
And,
I know that. Yeah. Yeah, I know that too. I know
But
that.
at the end of the day, our time is our time, whatever that is.
Yeah,
Whew.
but I mean, I know people that have made the opposite decision, and still dealt with that final
Yeah.
outcome. But I think, it goes back to what I said when I first came on. When if you weren't here in the beginning, I said I'm here in Sardinia, and it's interesting because everything closes down here, and from 2 to 7, like prime capitalist hours. Everything is closed here. From the gas, you can't get gas. If you didn't get gas before 12, because they take breaks in the workday, not just closed, but shut down, dark, chairs under the table, nobody there, and they come back in the evening to for dinner, because they're like, well, that person wants to go enjoy their family, as well. So if they're constantly serving you, they can't enjoy their family. And I think about it, as inconvenient as it was for us today because we were hungry, trying to find some place to eat. But I thought, like, the fact that they look at you like, well, they want to spend time with their family. That is huge. And it doesn't even matter if you have family or not, but just taking time with yourself. We deserve to do more than just work. My husband tells me this all the time. But maybe coming here gave me a real life example,
Right.
of it, and it just because at the end of things, regardless of when your end is, you will not say, man, I wish I had gotten more work in. Nobody will say, man, Mo, the people on your job won't be like, you know what? I wish we had a chance to work with Scorpio Mo. Got some more work out of him. No, no. The thing that people miss is that quality time spent, So if we're not doing it, and if you're getting all the money in the world or all the money that you can, but you're not enjoying your life,
Quality of life all the time.
quality of time, quality of life, all of that, you know. So just, take this, make this be, the sign that you need it if you want to do things differently. I don't think, even though we talk about relationships, I don't think everybody is supposed to be in a relationship. But I think there are some people that want to be in one that are afraid that it won't happen for them. So whatever you want, whatever you want, know that you can have it. You just have to
Please,
start.
please
You just have
believe it. Starts with you first and projects out. That's what it is. Please.
PRNB says she has a 12-hour work week. Girl, I'm trying to be like you. We're trying to be
Well,
like you.
I do, and especially this week. And I took today off. I was burnt out after 2 days. I was tired today. Yesterday, I
You
was
did that
burnt.
long stretch. You did that really long stretch.
Well, I'm supposed to do it again this week, but yesterday, the last 2 days were overwhelming. Before I could go back in there, I got to reset and get
Yeah.
my mind, go back in there and do it. But them 12 hours is no joke. If you're not, it's all good though.
She said 12-hour work week. That's all she works in a week.
I'm here to tell you. I've done it before. It's tough, boy. It's tough,
No,
especially if,
she's saying 12 hours for the entire week, not 12 hours a day.
12 hours for the entire week. Oh, well, you need to go back to work then. What you doing? Go back.
No, I think she's figured out a beautiful life, and we want to figure out how to be like her.
It depends.
Um,
Get paid no 12. That ain't nothing wrong with that.
so African says there was a question online that asked, would you rather work 4 days a week or take a $15,000 raise? I bet most people want a $15,000 raise, which really, when you spread it out over that year, is not going to be much.
Alabama, it's a couple states for the city. They're already doing it. They're already
A
doing
4 day. I've heard that. I've heard
yeah.
that.
Alabama for
Well,
the state workers is already like that.
well, we just want to encourage you all to live the life that you want. Live the life that will make you happy. Live the life that will make you happy. I love you guys for watching. As late as it is here, it makes me happy to get on here and have these conversations, because it's like this is really like a family. And I appreciate you guys. Make sure that you like this on the way out,
It don't,
and
it don't do
make
it no more.
sure, yeah, it doesn't do it, but make sure that you are here Friday so that we
Right.
can get into this never ever mets. Hopefully, we'll be wrapping it up and preparing for the reunion. I will try to get some juice out of the producer here to bring back to you guys on Friday. I love you guys for watching. Make the rest of your week amazing. Thank you, PR Envy. I will enjoy. I will enjoy. I'll put some posts and pictures this week on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed so you can see those. All right, you guys make the rest of this week amazing, and we'll see you Friday night.
All right, y'all be safe.